Welcome to Brightly, You Radiant Being, the show that wildly recognizes, encourages, and invests in the radiance we all carry so you can shine your brightest. We're just a couple curious people interested in friendship, ideas, and personal development. This is a show that strives to speak to the curious, to those who long to explore new ways of thinking, reflecting, and being. Through sharing our experiences, friendship, and interests, we hope to impact you to step more brightly into yourself, inch by inch.
Hey Amy, how are
Hi,
you on this
Tracy.
sunny, beautiful day?
Yeah, it is at least the day we're recording this. It's a sunny, beautiful day.
First
That
time in
helps
a
with
while.
it felt just like rain, 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 rain. Um,
And I'm not that it's totally okay if the rain bums you out. I get it. But I'm not one of those people who assigns like morality to weather, like it's not good or bad.
morality to weather.
It's just a wet. We need it. Like rain to me is like it's helping everything grow. It's helping everything turn greener. It's helping, and I mean, I like a dark and stormy cloudy day sometimes. Don't
Yeah,
always
no,
want
I totally
sunshine,
agree.
but
The other
it's
night,
nice to see it breaking up.
yeah, the other night I had a dream, and in my dream, I was complaining about the rain. And the person in my dream said, "No, this is good. We need this rain." I said, "It's been
Was it
raining for like 7 days." He said, "No, that was just a mist." I have no idea.
First of
Who
all,
knows?
you got sassy people in your dream. That's
Yeah, telling me off.
But I just read or heard somebody say recently, like, do you notice the weather in your dreams? And I gotta say, I don't. I don't think I ever have. But you not only noticed it, but were critiquing it and wanted it to change.
But
So
then this
good
person
for
set me on the right track. That was only missed. I was like, oh, okay, then I guess we do need this
you.
rain.
We do need this rain.
Yeah,
But it's a sign, spring is coming, right?
exactly. And so, speaking of inch by inch with our little opener, we are inching into spring.
Hmm.
And I don't know, did you ever watch the Disney Bambi cartoon?
Yes.
The movie,
Yes.
and when everything's waking up and they're playing that delightful music, and like the flowers are waking up and the animals are waking up from their hibernation, and it's like the rain is coming down, not just a mist.
Drip, drip, drip,
Rain, yeah,
like
exactly, you've got the music. And so it's like, oh, it's like playtime, right?
oh,
And
playtime. That's a great word for spring.
I love it, right? And the cool thing is that this is considered, so when we talk about like the wheel of the year, and we've got the big ones, right? Like the spring equinox, just like when we were talking about Imbolc, Beltane is 6 weeks past the spring equinox. And then 6 weeks later will be the summer solstice. So this is our midway point, our high spring. And guess what? Summer is coming. So,
So that's what I love. That's what I love about the wheel of the year and kind of viewing your calendar year, or not even calendar year, but in just 6 week sprints, right? So like
yeah.
let's say New Year's came and went and you didn't do New Year's resolutions, and then the spring equinox came and maybe you didn't hold true to anything that you were gonna do. May 1st, you got another shot. You can do it.
I love it.
This
I
one
love it.
this one's fun to me. Like I like the inwardness of Yule around the
Mhm.
December, in the northern hemisphere, the winter solstice. I love how
Mhm.
inward that is and how you don't really have to share it and you can just kind of plant seeds. But what I like about Beltane and the May 1st, transition of the wheel of the year, not only that it's that midpoint, we're almost to summer, from spring started halfway there, but it's just like you get to bloom, like whatever you were planting, whatever you want to plant, it's time to like really nurture it and like let that come out.
I love that. It's time to bloom. I feel like we're going to have to do another episode on a brighten up or something.
Yeah, and you know, like just being more extroverted in what you're doing and letting, you know, not necessarily, you don't have to tell everybody what your goals are, but showing off some of your progress, showing off some of your work, starting to talk about it, starting to live it a little bit more.
Yeah, I love that. So I feel like as we're, literally planting our gardens, we can start showing off what we're starting to harvest in our lives, right? Yeah.
Starting to plant.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
because this time of year, right, and then into summer and then into late fall is about growth, right? So it's not about, you know, May 1st, you know, being like, oh, these were my New Year's resolutions, or are my goals, and like, here I am, world. Like that's not the part of the blooming. This is like growing, you know, and
Mhm.
growing into that. You don't have to pop out, you know, mid-spring fully actualized in whatever you're doing, whether you're glowing up, brightening up, or whatever. Like, it's about celebrating new life, right? And in you know, the past year that we've had, I, the world's starting to reopen, you know, and so
Mhm.
there's like that double meaning to celebrating new life right now too.
Yeah. The other thing too, so I'm going to do a little bit of tradition
Yeah,
here
where'd this
just
come from?
around Beltane. It's actually a Celtic tradition. So think Ireland, Scotland, that kind of thing, right? And Bell, I found out. So Beltane, Beltane is one way to spell it, but the Celtic root word bell means bright.
We planned it.
No, seriously. Okay, bright or fortunate. But isn't that cool? So it can also be like lucky fire. And
Ooh,
yeah, isn't that
ooh. I know
great?
spring
It
people
is a fire
with
festival.
bonfires, but yeah, almost all of the Celtic, these, you know, Sabbats, the Wheel of the Year, they're
Yes.
go dance around a fire. Like it's a fire
Yes.
festival.
And this one it's so interesting. So, and of course, it's another fertility festival too. those, those crazy Celts. Anyways, um, uh, the Celtic people, Druids would actually light two fires, and then they would lead the cattle between the fires, and that was to sort of cleanse them. That was to cleanse them, keep disease away, keep fairies that were maybe malevolent away. And so that was part of the fire festival. So some of the other things that are connected, like that we think about with Beltane or May Day, like the maypole, that actually came much later. And that was more in English. What do you
A
know
little
about
bit of
that?
trivia I know is, so the maypole, it's a very symbolically phallic, you know, the women dancing around a pole, and like
Mm-hmm.
you said about fertility, but how it actually started was they would dance around their fruit trees for abundance and giving their energy and helping to a more bountiful harvest.
I'm going to be dancing around my garden this
There you
spring. That's
go.
what I'm going to be doing. I
I love
love
it.
that so much.
But also,
And
you know, May Day, going back to our previous episode, it's also a great time. You know, we've now transitioned it into spreading kindness and, you know, ding dong ditching your neighbors with, you know, baskets full of goodies and plants and things like that.
yeah.
So that's a really practical way. You don't have to erect anything in your yard. And if you don't have a garden or fruit trees, I mean, you can still dance, and I encourage you to dance, but you can still mark it in a semi-traditional way of
Put your
giving
house
other
plants
people.
all together and dance around your house plants with some candles or something representing the fire. And well, and I think that's another good point though that you brought up, like the whole May Day thing, the basket, because it's also this festival is also around the needs of the community.
Mhm.
And I mean, not to do
Coming out of our homes, right?
right,
We're
coming
not
out of our
isolated.
homes, thinking about our community, our neighborhoods, our family, our friends, whatever you see as your community. And right now we have a lot of needs of
Mm,
the community
yeah.
that we're going through right now. So that's another thing to consider as well. So for us today, besides getting your house plants all together in the middle of the room and dancing around them, um, I don't know. Like, what are you? Are you thinking of doing anything like what are your thoughts around it? What are you going to do?
So for this type of year, I don't have a food or vegetable garden right now, but I do have gardens of flowers and shrubs. I have a yard. I heard recently, or I read the term yarden, your yard and your garden, you're tending to your yarden.
I've never heard that before.
But so what I like to do, anytime I'm doing anything out in nature, but especially around my home and my garden and my plants, is to just
Mhm,
bring that spirituality into what I'm doing, and to
mhm,
bring the ritual into it, and to just be really intentional with what I'm doing. And so right now, I'm working to clear away all the death from last year.
mhm,
I leave all of that, so that the little bit of nature I do have around here, the rabbits and the squirrels, they have food, they have shelter, places to hide, things like that. So I'm
mhm.
clearing that away. But because of all the rain that we were just talking about, I'm way behind in nurturing the growth. There's a lot of green popping up. But so right now, also just calling in, like, I'm not gonna dance around my front garden maybe necessarily, but it's just one way I like to mark it. I also, on these habits, I do some sort of nature walk and things like that. And last year I discovered, on this very public trail, a very hidden, beautiful fairy garden that it's very Celtic. There's stones, there's um, bird bass, there's actual like little fairy house things, but then it's just planted in a way that this is definitely was a very, it's more of a spiritual experience, I feel like. And so going in there, maybe setting some of my intentions, and things like that. So we'll see. I definitely, this time of year, and with Beltane, I do it with the Celts, I think of fairies, and I think of it's funny you brought up Bambi, because I think of Fantasia and the fairies coming out and dancing. And there's that song where they're like going, there's like the ice fairies, and then there's the ones waking up the flowers and drinking the dew and things like that. And so to me, it's just like, magic is out there waking up nature, and just
Mhm,
going out there
mhm.
and supporting them in that. But yeah,
Love that.
how about you? Do you have any sort of ritual yet with it, or anything in mind?
Well, so I've got a couple things in mind because this is the first year that I feel like I'm intentionally paying attention to it, right?
Yeah.
And it feels like this grand discovery that I can just sort of reset things every 6 weeks. that that I'm really appreciative that you sort of reminded me of this again. It's not that I had never heard of the Wheel of the Year, but I hadn't paid attention to
Mhm.
it. So for me, I've actually already started to do some things. Um, and of course, we're recording this in the past. So, ooh.
No, we're recording this in our listeners' future, as John Green likes to say.
I love
They
that.
are
And
hearing this in our future. So they're hearing
yes,
this in our future. We're
yes.
we're speaking in their past.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've started to do is actually talk to my plants more. Now, I've always paid attention to my plants, and I touch my plants and fluff my plants and clean my plants and do all kinds of stuff. But now I'm talking to them. The other thing that I've started to do, and I don't care what anyone thinks about this because I like it, I've started to put trinkets in my house plants. So these are things like maybe it's a beautiful shell, or maybe it's like a toy frog, or maybe it's something I've made like little table and chairs out of the metal that's around the champagne corks. I always make people give me those. And then I make little chairs, like little garden chairs out of them. And it's for the fairies.
Yeah, I
So,
was just gonna say, you're making indoor fairy gardens.
but they're
So
not really fairy gardens, but they are for the
yeah.
fairies.
So one of the things you could do, if you haven't already, is you're supposed to leave them treats. They like sugary sweets. So on these Sabbats, I have a tree trunk, or a cut down tree, that I
Mhm,
will, because so many of these Sabbats involve baking or cooking or making bread or things
mhm.
like that. So I will mark them that way, and then whatever I make, I'll gift not only to my neighbors, but I'll put a couple out on the tree stumps. And whether the
So
fairies
I had heard that, but I
or
hadn't done it
the
yet.
squirrels take them. Either way,
Yeah,
nature's getting a
but
bite.
they
Yeah,
know who it's for.
they
I
know
will
it's donated
absolutely do
sweet
that.
treats. And even if
Yeah.
it's just, for the Celtics, they call, oh, what do they call it? Elementals. So
Yes.
leprechauns, fairies, things
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
Even like, let's say nothing in nature takes it, you can still go out after a couple of days and dispose of it, because the energy of it's about gifting. It's like any, a lot of, Hindus leave,
Mm-hmm.
what's the word I'm thinking of? Not gifts, but
I know what you're thinking of.
sacrifices,
Offerings.
yeah,
Yes.
offerings.
Yes.
So it's about,
Mm-hmm.
making an offering to nature and
Mm-hmm.
whatever magic is out there helping to
Yes.
support it. Oops.
So so the other thing is I'm before the rain, I've got some plants that are overgrown that I needed to separate.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to them first, told them what was going to happen, told them where I was going to, that I'm digging them up and I'm putting them over on this side of the house now, and that they'll like the plants that are over there, and that I will
You're
keep.
introducing them.
I am just going to say, I know this might be uncomfortable, but you're going to have a new home, and it'll all be good, and Rick will be happy because you won't be growing into his shed. So I'm just being more intentional with nature as far as like paying attention. Um, I've always been in tune with trees. Like I always go up to trees and touch them and
Gotta
talk
touch
to
them.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but now it's like I feel like I'm expanding my community of nature.
How you
So
interact with it.
absolutely. And I think that when you interact in a respectful way with nature, that nature will pay you back. I heard someone talking the other day about how Mother Earth has just about had it with us and is trying to like get rid of us. And so the better kind of relationship you have with Mother Earth, the more likely you'll stay.
Well, I mean, they do say humans are essentially an infection. We are
Yes.
an infection on the planet, and we're
Yeah.
growing. And so I think whatever you can do to offset that would be appreciated, no matter what your beliefs. And like, let's say you're not as mystical as Amy and I are getting. Some ways you can mark this is to just go and sit outside on the bare ground and soak up the sun,
Yeah.
or even if you're walking, on concrete downtown, just find the sunny patch and just, get a
Yeah.
little vitamin D for a little bit.
I love that.
For it.
I have to tell a story about fairies though. When I was little, probably like 5 years old, we had a couple, like we had a really big front yards. Like we had one yard on this side of the driveway and another yard over here, and then kind of went up, and that was another yard. Probably wasn't that big, but to a 5-year-old, it was huge, right? But our backyard was like just this like little tiny strip of land. But my mom had put in,
Of course,
yeah, she had put in like this concrete pond kind of thing with water and stuff. And then there was a St. Francis statue, and planted, there were 2 plum trees. And when the plums would, when there were blossoms, she would say to me, let's go look for fairies. So we would go in the backyard to the plum trees with their gorgeous blossoms and look for fairies. So I would say if you have kids for May Day, go look for fairies.
anytime you're outside, really. But
Well, yeah, anytime. But wouldn't that be a fun thing to do with kids? And actually, if you're a grown ass adult, go look for fairies.
Look for the fairies.
So another thing, I just want to remind people that this is supposed to be a joyous thing. It's supposed to be a joyous celebration, right? It's a way to actually honor this time, celebrate this time. And so even if you're like, okay, I think you're both have lost it, and I'm not going to look for any effing fairies, then what brings you joy, right? Absolutely.
Or creating it, because this time of year, we're starting to see changes, so we had the spring equinox and things started to get warmer, and sunnier, lighter, longer. But
Mhm.
now at this time in the year, we're starting to see the changes. And so when it comes to you personally, or even as we were just kind of talking about with our personal exterior surroundings, you can choose your changes, right? Like this is the time of year to choose the change you want to see, that you want to help nurture and grow throughout the rest of the
Yeah.
year. So whether it's internal or external.
Well, and I loved it too, the fact that you were like, it's time to be more like, this is the time to be more extroverted to actually do that. So I had written in here, like, it's time to wake up, right?
Time to
I
wake
mean,
up.
it is time. I mean, obviously, when we think of spring, like that's when we think of waking up, but especially here in the northern, we're in Minnesota, like you can say March 21st is spring, but it
It's
sure
not.
doesn't look like
And say I
spring.
still haven't done my spring cleaning, and I think that
Yeah.
the month of April is going to be spring cleaning. That the last week of the month, I'm just gonna every day will be something, or every day will be a room.
Yeah.
Because then come May, I'm gonna go outside and I'm going to be spring cleaning outside and planting outside. And
Yes.
so yeah, I love that, getting more extroverted, because I've been hesitant, especially with the pandemic. I have a little bit of that anxiety. I forget the term that they're using to talk about it, but like I feel like I'm not done hiding out yet. Like there's a little bit of anxiety
Yeah.
entering the world, and so I like that it's corresponding with spring, because it's kind of a natural coming out period to begin with.
Right. And the fact that you can just to be around people again, you can do it outside. So you feel like you have a little bit more control over the
Mhm.
situation, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it is time to wake up.
So what
So
what can I do when I wake up? Because I gotta tell you, I did not have the glow up, the brighten up I envisioned in 2020. I did not use my time well, and that's okay. Some of us needed to cocoon. I have
it's
a
absolutely okay.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
have
think
a quote
any of
that
us
says,
used it.
we're all, from a spirituality perspective, we're all kind of going through an awakening to begin with, and the
Mhm.
greater community as a whole is in some very practical ways. But when you go into your cocoon, when you're the caterpillar turning into the butterfly, you have to turn to goo first. And so if you're
Oh
still
dear God.
right,
And it probably doesn't feel very good
and so that's part of
being goo.
transformation, right? Yeah, it feels off, and so if you're still feeling gooey, that's okay. But like as you turn into this butterfly, Amy's gonna tell us some stuff we can do when we break out.
Well, honestly, you just said it too before. Like, go outside, just be outside, look around, listen to the birds, look at the clouds,
And
just
how
be
easy, just
outside,
go
be
for a
with
walk,
nature,
right?
go for a
You don't
walk.
have to be playing volleyball, going for a run. You don't have to join a group activity. Just go for a walk.
Hmm. Yeah. And absolutely, I don't know what that word was. Absolutely. I'm not sure what I was trying to
New word.
say.
Own it.
but the cool thing is right now, and certainly as we move closer to summer, more and more people are outside. So you get those nice little interactions. Yesterday on my walk, I three three toddlers were like, I was like, I totally would, but I don't think your parents want me to. Like, I've never had that many kids be interested in me. It was phenomenal. So that's another good way to wake up if you know any
You know
toddlers.
any
That's
babies?
awesome. And of course, it seems counterintuitive when we talk about waking up when I say meditate, but
Spiritually wake up.
spiritually wake up. I swear every single episode, I'm just gonna say you have to
You
meditate.
have to.
So lately I have, and I'm not saying I'm great because there's plenty of times like I would meditate once a week or
Yeah.
something like that. But this last month I started doing something that was it was like a 21-day thing. It wasn't like a 21-day thing.
It
It
was
was a 21-day thing. And I did it every day and then just continued on it. And I'm on day 26 of meditating every day
so
for
in Kundalini yoga, they have
Mhm.
different not levels, but just kind of goals. And so there's a 30-day and a 90-day, and then there's like an entire year. And I did the 30-day and felt great and was like,
Mhm.
I'm gonna do the 90-day. it was hard. It was hard.
Ki-
There's like a point of struggle, and
That's so
I
interesting.
think that's why they chose those numbers, is because some of them are going to be really attainable and feel good, but if there isn't that struggle, there's not going to be growth, right?
Oh, right.
Like you can't be good at something without being bad. You can't have change in your life without experiencing not necessarily bad, but like it just has, you have to work at it. It has to challenge you a
Hmm.
little bit. And so there was like a 3 week period where I really had to be like, no, I am dedicated to this and I am seeing how it is helping me. And then sure
So
enough,
that
after the next
struggle
day it
lasted a
was.
while.
It did. And like I was in, I had gotten past the 21 days of like building a habit, and I had it in my schedule and I took it seriously. And then there was a point where I had to work for it. And
Mhm.
then I got to the 90 days and I was like, okay, and I'm done. I don't know how people do this for a year. Like, and sometimes with Kundalini, like certain kriyas and mantras and meditations and the things that you're doing are for a specific purpose, right? Like
Mhm.
the one I was doing was planting a seed in me. So I'm also kind of curious if maybe I didn't start it at the right time, or maybe if my seed was like day 60, we're planted, we're good, we're fine. And so part of me
Yeah,
wonders,
so
was
interesting.
the struggle the meditation I partly the meditation I chose, partly the time of year, is it just built into it? But it's definitely something that should be a daily practice. And there's a difference between like, oh, I have to work at something I want and this doesn't feel good anymore, so please
Mhm.
don't, listen to yourself. Don't, as much as Amy and I just said you have to meditate, like maybe you need a day off. That's cool.
Well, and also maybe your meditation, I mean, some people, I feel meditation is different for different people, right? There's traditional meditation, but sometimes it just doesn't work for people. There's walking meditation. There is just sitting and looking out the window or sitting outside and watching the birds, but not, as long as you're disconnected from
Yeah, it's
your,
not task oriented. You're
yes. Yeah. Then I think that maybe that's your meditation. I still would challenge people to try to meditate. And if you have a hard time with it, to do a guided meditation,
Well, the
because
one I
sometimes
was
that can
doing was
help.
over 21 minutes long, because also in Kundalini, there's certain time points.
Hmm.
And then either depending on the meditation or the person, I brought up previously Kundalini life path numbers, like they have recommendations for the length of meditations that works for certain people. So for me, that was also the greater challenge, was if I didn't do it in the morning and then I had a long day and I'm walking in the door at 10:30 at night, it's like, oh crap, I got to fit in this 21-minute meditation before midnight and I just want to lay down. And I can't tell you the amount of times there's like, oh, I'm just going to close my eyes and rest for 10 minutes. There's no way you're getting off the couch to meditate after you've like let yourself fall asleep essentially. And so that was also the challenge for me. And so like you can do a 5-minute meditation, like you can do meditations that work for your life, for
You
your
can do a 2-minute meditation.
meditation.
Yes, you just sit. The other
Sitting
thing
in
too with
silence.
meditation, you do not have to be sitting cross-legged, straight up. You can be
You can do
in
it in
a
bed.
you could be in a lazy boy
Yeah.
and do it. Um and I have, but yeah, I think that there's just sometimes we set up all these like weird rules around stuff that we've heard about. And yeah, I'm sure many people do meditate that way. That's just I just don't. I
As
don't.
with what resonate, what's fits for you. But this
Hmm.
time of year though, it's a good time for a spiritual rededication and spiritual reconnecting or spiritual connecting. The light is shining greater, connect to your own light. I have a Kundalini yoga instructor who recently started talking about it as connect to your own personal star in the cosmos, the one that was born when you were born.
Oh, that's giving me so many chills.
And it's just like, let's say I do just need like a quick, 60-second meditation, or I'm feeling disconnected, or I just want a little mini brighten up during the day. You're just picturing that star and picturing that white light, being poured over into the crown of your head and just filling your body.
Mhm.
Like, that's such a simple meditation, and it
I
just feels good.
love that.
And it's my personal star that was born the same day I was born. Like, it's a great thing to connect to.
I can't wait to introduce myself to my personal star. And these are my plants. And these are the fairies. Yeah,
And
exactly.
because you've brought up community a few times too. So another, I don't think I brought this up during our kindness episode, but another way that you can both feel good and help your community is picturing your friends, your family, your neighbors, your colleague, just picturing light pouring on them. It's not necessarily coming from you. It can, if that's what gives you power and strength and
Mhm.
happiness, but just picturing light around the people around you. We talk about you get to bless your house by cleaning it. You can also envision your entire house being filled with light. Like, that's a
Mhm.
great way to kind of connect.
Every morning, I visualize every morning. I visualize white light around each. It goes by age, so it's the oldest to and then to the grandchild. So, yep, white light gets put around all of them.
Amazing. I love that. But now you can
um,
fill your whole house too.
I love that. And you know what? You can visualize yours just like you just said with your personal star, and then you connect that out to the community, your community,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Obviously connect with your friends. Like this, I know, I know we've like I am so tired of Zoom happy hours and things like that. We
We're
literally
on
can't.
Zoom.
I,
Sorry, Amy.
I know.
Yours. I'm kidding.
I didn't mean
I
this.
empathize with you.
I didn't mean, and then here I am like, I didn't mean you.
Oh,
No,
you
but I
don't
feel
want
like,
to see me in person?
yeah,
Okay.
we can't wait. No, we can't wait to see each other in person, be able to do something in person. Um, we talked about it before. Check in with your goals and dreams, right? Rededicate yourself, look at them. Heck, you know what? You know what you can do? Wake yourself up. Okay, you check in with your goals or dreams, or, rewrite them, right? Like find beautiful paper, find really cool pens, like make a whole ritual out of it.
Or even
Of
within like 10 days of Beltane, I think, is the new moon. So when you write your new moon intentions, they recommend writing them beautifully on beautiful pieces of paper, and that when they come true, don't just cross them off like, oh, I received this. Rewrite it on more beautiful paper.
oh,
But like,
I
what a
love
way
it.
to recommit to you, to the universe, and just treat your goals, revere them and respect them, and be
Yeah.
excited about them.
Like, yes, I love that. I wrote this down once. I'm not sure if this connects or not, but I was thinking about this. Like, what if we treated our goals, dreams, ideas like babies, right? You'd pay attention to them, you'd
You would
nurture
nurture
them.
them.
Yes, absolutely.
You wouldn't be mean to them.
No, you, right? You would do everything for them. And so if you can try and picture them like, these are my babies, right? It's time to nurture them, time to
And
pay
also, that just
attention.
makes me think of mid 90s Tamagotchis, like,
Oh, yeah.
think of your goals as little Tamagotchis, little digital things. Maybe Animal Crossing is something similar. I've never played, but like, you have to feed them. You have to
Yeah.
check in on them daily. You
Yeah.
have to clean them. You have to look at them. Like,
Maybe your goal is a baby goat, right? Maybe it's not a baby, but it's a baby goat. And you're like, I'm going to treat this baby goat so great.
anthropomorphize your goals, ladies and gentlemen. Like, this is.
I think it should be a thing. I
I
really
love
do.
that. Like,
I do.
it's taking your vision board and bringing it into the 4D, right? Like, it's
Into the
envisioning your
4D.
goals as
I
like
love it.
as an entity, as something that needs taking care of,
Yeah.
not just an end goal to reach.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's actually really, really active. I like that. That
Cool.
so when I prepared for this show a little bit, I have Sabit's almanac.
Nice.
talks about each of them.
Yeah.
And one of the things they said for this year is it's a great time of year to claim your whole self.
Whew, boy, I
We
tell
both
you.
just inhaled real deep.
Yeah.
And
Because I guess I'm just going all in on this episode. I've got the fairies and the people talking to me in dreams. And so lately what's happening in my meditations is I I meet things, I meet people, and I am represented in my meditation as three people. And so I'm like there, and then the other two come, and then we're all together and hug, and then we're very happy together. And and I don't know what this is, okay? But one is dressed completely in black, and the other one is dressed in white. And I know that just seems very obvious. It's like, what?
oh, what do you think it is?
Well, I think it's shadows. I don't know.
You do know. You're going all in and you're holding back. I'm watching you laughing. I'm like, you're describing what it is, and then you interrupt yourself with your I don't know. So do you think it's your shadow and light? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
My first image is Mother Maiden Crone. That
Well,
Crone is
okay.
your future, Mother is
So
your current.
let me
and
tell
Maiden
you.
is white.
Yes. Let me tell you. Crone is like going hard because another person who I meet who actually told me their name, I'm not going to repeat it here, who is definitely a crone, and whereas it's almost, I don't know what the costume, what it is, but it looks very folk, very and she takes me across this bridge and brings me into this house, and we look at things, and she's always trying to tell me things, and I can't hear her yet. but I could hear her name. And so that's Crone. Another thing, I have this whole idea about, so we've gone way off topic here.
No, we have not. This is our podcast. We are in it.
So I absolutely love Mother Maiden Crone, because another thing that I'm just going to say, that the woman dressed all in black always has a witch's hat on.
You also, going by the colors, like I don't know about the folksy or you, but it could also be the four directions. Like these are very clearly guides, and it's aspects of yourself combined with a guide. So that's amazing. We need to have a dreams episode. And a guide.
Well, these are meditation. These come to me in my meditation, not in my dreams.
Okay.
These are in my meditation.
I mean, these are very clearly your guides then.
Right.
So one of the things you can do for guides, I don't know if you already do it, but you can set intentions, before your meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Or one that I like recently is before bed is just, universe, please reveal to me what I need to see. So I've had some pretty intense moments after amazing Kundalini sessions, where I've gone home and like I've just gone to lay down and take like a 20-minute nap, and I just get all these images at like a flip book pace, or somebody talking but I can't understand it, or it's just too fast and it's just too much.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've had coaches and other people tell me, tell them, slow down. Like, I am human, slow down, please. Slow it down. Give me one thing. Can I know your name?
That reminds me of Carrie from Sex and the City, where she says, I'm an American, to the one person who's like sweeping her off her feet and dancing around this fountain. She's like, I'm an American. You have to stop.
But I mean, that's the great thing with this time of year, though, is, your spirituality can kind of be reawakening and reblooming and things like that, too. So whether you have your guides, whether you meditate, or you just like to pray and talk to your angels, it's a really good time of year for that cosmically, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of cosmic-y stuff,
Yeah,
I started to look at astrologically what was going on. And I'm not an astrologer, but
we're a fan.
I'm an astrology fan, exactly. And usually all the astrologers I listen to, Tracy found them first and then sent them to me.
then you deep dive and listen way more than I do. I casually pass and find these things, and then I talk to you and it's like, oh wow, wow, you caught up real fast.
So anyways, I was looking at like what's happening right now. So
Yeah,
we're going to be going into Taurus.
around
Um
April 23rd ish.
something, yeah, somewhere around there.
Leap
And
year affects it, so it's a little different year to year, but
yeah, it
about
is. I was actually not today years old, but I was last year old when I found out that leap year actually affects when the anyways. Um so not only are we going to go into Taurus season, but then Venus, who rules Taurus, will be in Taurus from like sometimes towards the end of April to May 9th. And
so
so
we are officially Venus and Taurus right now.
right now we are, you're right. Oh,
So we're recording this mid-April.
yeah.
But as of like April 13th, Venus entered Taurus.
Okay. So Taurus is like comfort. So, is someone at your house?
There's a bug, and I couldn't tell from where my window is. Is it outside? Like I'm sitting
Oh.
directly to the sun looking at, is it outside? And then I was like, no, it is 3 inches from your forehead. I took a moment on camera, so Amy caught me looking away. I took a moment to just be like, what kind of bug? Do I need to react to
I was
this?
just nervous that someone was walking around upstairs at your house, fairies or
Oh, sure.
something. So Taurus is all about like comfort and sensuality. And by sensuality, I mean your senses. Like, does this feel good to touch? Does it taste good? Is it pleasing? Does it smell good? Like all of that. Loves to be home, loves comfort. And then Venus is all about beauty and love. And so I just thought, wow, this is like a perfect combination for Beltane.
Oh, yeah.
And I just felt like it would be super fun to just kind of bring them together. So then I was thinking like, okay, what could I do to sort of honor both of those? And so I was thinking of like a cleansing rituals. So
A
like
bath,
maybe
a,
what?
a bath, a good meal, like
Yes, like a really good bath where
luxurious
a
bath. You're going
luxurious bath
lush. You
with
have
no,
candles.
yes,
You have one
candles.
of those lights that like puts the cosmos on your ceiling, good
Oh,
music, no
all in.
interruption, essential oils. Yeah, do it.
Yes. Yes. And either Epsom salts or sea salts. So that's really good cleansing. Um, do maybe do some sage and open your windows. And then afterwards do some Palo Santo to
Put
bring
some
the
fresh
good stuff
flowers in
in.
there. Yeah.
Ah, yes. I think it's time to just double down on self-care, right? I think Taurus and Venus, it's like take care of you, because then when you take care of you, you can take care of other people.
Exactly.
Um, I started to well, I'm not wearing a necklace today, but I have started to wear necklaces. And then, of course, I'm wearing my bracelets. And every day I wear this one that my sister gave me. It says, "You are magic" on it. So I'm just reminding myself that I'm magic. I'm like wearing rings
So Taurus is
and
an earth sign, so it makes sense. It's very grounded, but then it's also you have stones on you, quite literally the earth
yeah,
that connect
yeah,
very well.
yeah. I love that. Um, I don't know. We already talked about rewriting the goals on pretty paper because Taurus and Venus would love that.
I mean, both as part of a daily practice for just this time of year, but also especially for the actual May day, just dance. And, dance like no one's watching. If you can, I mean, obviously it's about you, like you said, self-care. So pick your favorite song, the one that you can just jump around your house to or whatnot. But pick something with drums, pick something that's really not necessarily, I don't want to say tribal, but like that gets you in your body. The one I like is called God, and I thought I had it queued up here. Who's
Okay, I just have to say that that gets you in your body.
you in your body?
Yeah.
But it's not
We're,
about the movement, it's not about the lyrics, you're feeling it, but you're present in your body. But so the
yes.
song I would recommend kind of starting with is the title is God, and it's by the Underlying Stars. And quite honestly, the entire album would be good for this type of exercise. But just moving and moving your whole body and not thinking too much about it and just getting in the habit of it. I mean, do it at least one song daily, but if you could do it for like 20 minutes or like make kind of a ritual out of it, or before
Yeah.
your bath or after your bath, like
So
experiencing your body.
I
It's very
will
different.
say I need to do it more often. And I even gave myself a reminder that every day dance at 11, and every day it comes up and I'm like, I can't do that right now. So I'm going to recommit to that, because right now I'm only dancing maybe once a week. And that's when I clean my house and I've got the music blasting. And then all of a sudden I'm just like sliding across the floor. But here's the thing with dancing, like every time I do it, I'm like, oh, I feel so good and I love this and it makes me so happy. So I'm not going to do it again until next week. Like, what is that?
Well, and especially like let's say you're like me and you're someone who's more anxious, or you're just very much in your head. Like I once had an intuitive be like, oh, you spend all your time in your head. You spend too much time in your head. And I just looked at him and said, where do other people spend their time, sir? And he's like, that's such an in your head question to ask. And it was like, you can't tell someone who's in their head that they spend too much time there and then
Because
not
then
tell them
they're
what to
going to
do.
think about
Right. And not tell
it.
me what to do. But so what I've since learned is you have your head and your heart, but you have your body.
Yeah.
And so one of the things you can do, especially if you're anxious, is they say to for at least 3 minutes, dance with your hands over your head.
Oh, yeah. You told us that once
Yeah. And so
before.
let's say you just something you can just shake it out, but at least 3 minutes. So that's why dance is easy, because you can put on, Katy Perry and just hop around your bathroom before a shower.
And so
But
why with the
I don't know. I
hands?
think it's something with your central nervous system that it just
Okay.
helps move the blood around, helps get you out of your head, get you more
Okay.
present in your body. But I have found it to be very, I'm not going to say calming, but resetting and energizing.
Definitely resetting and energizing. It's
I recommend
amazing.
EDM music. Diplo is great for this.
Okay. Yeah, I'm 62. What did you just say?
EDM music, which is
What is
electronic dance music.
Oh, okay.
So like the but better. It's much better these days. But Diplo is an artist. So if you look up
Okay, thank
Diplo,
you. Thank you.
another term you can search for that I know like Sirius XM has and Spotify and Pandora is BPM. It stands for beats per minute. So I first learned about it when I started getting into running, that if you figure out your optimal beats per minute, finding and making playlists that match that help motivate, and connect that mind, body,
Cool.
heart or soul, and
Yeah.
keep you moving. And so I found the same for just music to dance to. Like there's music that is beats per minute is usually it's upbeat. It's not going to have like pop music has a chorus and it ebbs and it flows, and
Right.
sometimes it kind of changes how you're moving. But like EDM music, like the bass might drop, but that just makes you go harder. Like it's just
Well, I think I told you, I told everyone else who listened about the ecstatic wave. I think that's what it was called. And it's listed as like uh uh an exercise video. It's a video DVD. There I go again, being my 62-year-old self. um, so it's called, I think that's what it's called, Ecstatic Wave. And it is like drum beat and just like, oh, it gets in your body.
yeah.
And the cool thing is that, yeah, there's people on the screen dancing and you can just do whatever the hell you want, but you are moving. And and honestly, like, remember when you were a kid and you'd put on the skirt that really flew around when you danced? Like, do that. Get something fun on that's gonna like
Yeah,
flip around when you're dancing.
grab some flags, get some fabric. Ribbon.
Yes, remember those ones too that you could twirl around with isn't that
Yeah.
an Olympic
From like
event?
rhythmic gymnastics, the ribbon on the
Yes.
stick. Well,
Rhythmic
and also, like, let's
gymnastics.
say you're not like me and you don't, want to rave to feel like you're in your body. There's, the more sensual, traditional sensual music, or even just, things like the deep focus playlist on Spotify, where it's a little bit more, like sounds of thunder, with like some orchestral music behind it and things like
Yeah.
that. Like, there's no right or wrong way to do it, but yeah, get out of your head, get in your body, just move it around. Wear, like something that feels good to you, so whether it's silky or soft or nothing at
Yeah.
all, like just
Yeah.
embrace it. I
Maybe
mean, this time of year was it, the maypole dances and like all the phallic stuff around it. Like, it used to, some cultures, some people thought of the pagans as like it's debauchery, it's orgies, and it's about the fertility and the newness of the year. So have fun with it. Like, embrace your debauchery.
embrace you. But in oh, never mind.
I
Oh,
distracted you with
yeah,
the
with the debauchery.
with debauchery.
Anyways, well, that got me thinking too about things like, so the sensual things, right, that we're talking about, like make yourself a delicious meal,
And have dessert.
have dessert, have
Sleep
a
in.
yeah,
Take a
yeah,
nap.
oh, yeah. After you meditate, take a nap. Anyways, I just, I want to um make sure that we just take the time to consider the time of the year, right? So intentionally just take the time to actually honor the time of the year. Um, and
And
it's
enjoy
okay.
it, because the
It
next few
is.
weeks will go real fast and it'll
It
be like
will.
height of summer solstice before you know it.
I know. The other thing that I want to remind people is that even during difficult, challenging times, it's okay to still look for the joy and the happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love it.
So
Well, did the universe have any thoughts on this topic?
the universe had a couple of thoughts. Two cards flew out. Shocking.
Surprise.
Yeah. So the first one is the Queen of Pentacles. It
Ooh.
shows a queen with a crown sitting on a throne, and she's gazing down at the coin, at the pentacle.
Very large
Um,
coin.
yes,
Twice as
very
big.
large coin. One of the things with this card is up around the top of the card are blooms, are flowers and leaves. And there's a part of this card that just kind of reminds you of the Empress card, which of course is all about like birthing new ideas and creativity. And so the Queen is about those things as well. She's sensuous and creative. There's a rabbit who's kind of,
How
I
sweet.
don't, little rabbit. Do I have
Oh
the right
yeah.
corner? Yeah. So, which of course is another, spring fertility sign.
And the
Um,
pentacles are an earth sign card.
exactly. So that earth, it's almost like she's an earth mother. Her throne, the back of her throne it looks like pears, but there's fruit. And then there's like a cherub behind her. So it's all about this growing and birthing, and I just loved it. The more I looked at it, the more I loved it. And then in one of the books that I've got, the Diamond Tarot, it says the more we accept and celebrate our lives, the more love and security we can give.
I love that. How many people get the thing that they worked for, the thing they hope for, the thing they wish for, and then spend their time worrying about how they're going to lose it or mess it up or how it's going to be taken?
Oh gosh.
Don't sit in it and celebrate it and just experience it while they have it.
That is such a good point. And that goes back to the whole thing of like, take the time to honor this and to sit in it and to celebrate it. And like you said, I feel like that happens so often. And I think that if we stood back and looked at our own lives, like how long do we actually give ourselves to celebrate something and to be happy about something?
And I know it's not what this episode is about, but let's say you experience those moments. Turn that worry into gratitude instead. Take a second, acknowledge the worry, say, yep, you're valid. I hear you. I see you. But in this moment right now, I am grateful for. And then just sit in that gratitude instead
Such
of
a
that
good
worry.
point. That is such a great point.
Because that's what the Queen of Pentacles, kind of like the Nine of Pentacles, I equate them very similarly, is it's
Mhm.
about you've earned this. And this is you, enjoying what you have earned.
Oh, yeah. Look at her lovingly looking down at her pentacle, right? She is enjoying it and just taking it all in. The second card that the universe wanted us to
I love
have
this card.
was the 10 of Cups. This is a happy, joyous card as well. Look at that happy, joyous family. There's a rainbow up above them, and that's where the 10 cups are.
It's like they're welcoming and celebrating spring.
Yes, all the land in front of them. And the thing about this card is that I want people, even though it says, oh, happy family, it's like family, of course, is anything that you make family to be. Maybe family is your pet baby goat. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's so family can be anything that you create it to be. So that sort of goes back to the community again, right? Joyous celebration and gratitude. I literally wrote that down. So there we go again with
There it is.
gratitude and celebration. And once again, once you've filled your cup, you can fill others'
Oh, I love that.
cups, right? So kindness, blessings, it kind of goes back to the episode that we did on being a blessing to other people. And then this Diamond Tarot little book, it's a little teeny tiny book that I have. I'm telling you, it was hitting on all cylinders.
Wisdom.
What they had to say was everything is present here and now. Simply accept the gift of life.
Wow. That fits so well.
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing.
So,
So
what you got to tell us about next week?
while we're feeling grateful and accepting the gift of life in the here and now, I wanted to talk about a new term I heard, glimmers.
I just,
So yeah, we're really prone to notice and be on the lookout for the things that trigger us. And that's a natural form of defense. It makes sense. It's the same reason why, like I was talking about before, you get something you want and then you're panicked about how to keep it, and you're worried about losing it. But so as the sun starts to shine more brightly, and then we start to recognize and lift up and live from our own golden shadows, we're going to talk about ways you can look for those things, those glimmers, the things that inspire or trigger your bright and shiny moments instead.
I love it because I feel like it goes so well with the things we've been talking about, and it feels connected to your golden shadow. I I
Absolutely. It
I
was
don't know.
actually, it was supposed to be part of that episode, but we talked too much just about golden shadows. So it has to become its own, because
It does.
yeah, we are so often triggered by things, our own things, other people's things,
Mhm.
things people are trying to trigger in us. And I like that thought of just trying to be more intentional with our thoughts and what we're looking for. It's kind of, a lot of people harp on people who see repeating numbers as well. If you're looking for it, of course you're going to see it. We've mentioned it before. I forget what the phenomenon is called, but let's say I wanted to buy an orange car because not a lot of people had the orange rust colored Chevy cars. And then as soon as I decide that, or as soon as I get it, now all I see is that kind of car in that kind of
Mhm.
color, and it feels like everybody has it. And so it's really easy for people to be like, oh, well, of course you saw 1111. You're looking for it everywhere. Cool. It makes me feel good. That's my glimmer. So it's broadening that to just other things. And it's not about toxic positivity, but it's looking for the good things in life. It's looking for things that'll make you smile. It's, again, just trying to be intentional with your thoughts and just noticing more of what's around you. I mean, they
And
say like the human brain picks up just like a minuscule percent of what we're actually seeing in the world. It's a reason why we dream. It's our brains filtering everything we actually picked up and our conscious minds just did not pay attention to. So let's focus minuscule brain attention and power that we have on to nice shiny things.
I love nice shiny things. And if you love this episode, if it spoke to you or your soul, share it with a friend. And if you have time, give us some love on your preferred platform with a rate, review, and subscribe. You can also reach out to us via Instagram and YouTube under The Brightly Podcast or via email at brightlypodcast@gmail.com.
And with that, we hope you have a bright and beautiful day. Bye.
Bye.